So, hi everyone. Welcome to our web session for this Friday. We're going to be covering with Mike Taylor, Boyum B1UP tutorial on master data management. So, Mike, there you go. And if anybody has any questions, just use the chat box.
All right, thanks, Tracy. Yeah, so as Tracy said, today we're going to do B1UP's Master Data Manager. It is a module within B1UP, so you would need to own B1UP first. But I think it's a really underappreciated module. It's something that can replace the DTW. And if you're interested, please look into B1UP. There are so many different features and functions that it provides. This is just one of the modules that's included with that product. So a little bit more on the agenda today. What's a master data manager? How do I enable it? And a business partner master data example using this tool. And then I'll talk a little bit about scheduling as well. So what is the master data manager? It is a tool that allows you within SAP, the SAP client, to pull informational records and make changes to fields relating to those records. So that's really handy because if you're familiar with doing a data transfer workbench upload, you would normally have to export that to Excel, and then you would have to import that through the DTW. You'd have to have a separate tool. If you're ever doing updates in SAP through the DTW, this tool can almost always replace that process. And there's a couple other little tricks as well. So let's look in SAP how to enable it, and then I'll go on with my demo. So here we are in SAP.
Mike, you're not on SAP. You're on the PowerPoints. You're on your first page.
Oh no, I've been frozen the whole time. So
Yeah.
much new. Oh geez, guys. This is my first one back. I really messed that up. So let me go back to this slide. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
There
was
we
talking,
go.
but it's still a
Uh-huh.
nothing. Okay. I got burned by my pausing. Should I? Do you want me to restart it and just recap?
No, we're good, Mike.
Okay.
You could just recap if they want to see, what the schedule is, because people started
Okay.
coming in a little later anyways. That's all right.
Okay, perfect. So my bad, I had the screen frozen. So the agenda was a master data manager. I talked about that. How do I enable it? BPMD example and then scheduling. So it's not, got too confident. Okay, so you're looking at SAP. This background is this default B1UP dashboards. So people will often ask me what these are all about. Here's a workflow diagram. So you, again, for this product, you do need to have B1UP, and I'll show you how to enable it. So once you have B1UP installed, we're going to go here, administration, add-ons, B1 usability package, and B1 usability config. The reason I'm showing this is because a lot of people may even own the B1 usability package, but they don't have this enabled, and they may not have even looked at it. And I will admit that until about 6 months ago, I didn't even use this tool. I didn't know it existed. And now I think it's one of the more underrated tools within the B1UP framework. So you can see out of the box here, you have the B1 usability package functions, and then you have the use master data manager. Make sure if that's unchecked that you don't do this in the middle of the day and enable it, because it will make fields and tables. So you're going to want to back up your database and do this either in the evening or kick everybody off. Check this box, click update. This would turn to update if I did it there. I already have it added. And then when you push update, it'll go through and it will actually add that module, and then you'll be able to use it. So that's the first step. So if you're looking at your menus and you don't see the master data manager, that could be why. So it exists in the menu here. I'll just go through here. Master data manager. So administration, add-ons, B1 usability package, module configuration, and then the master data manager. It's deep in the area there, deep in the folders. So you see all these things that it adds here. So these activity managers, authorization managers, so you can copy authorizations between databases even. Yeah, business partner master data manager, which is what I'm going to cover. Documents can be handled this way. Drafts, employees, form settings can be copied between databases. GL account data manager, item group, you can read all the rest of these. But two other things I wanted to highlight here are the replace sales employee. I am not going to cover that today, but it's just like what you're thinking. You can literally say, I want to take sales employee X and replace them with sales employee Y. Say somebody leaves and you want to just have another person take up all those customers and replace them on all the open documents, all the open opportunities, all the business partners. You can use that. And one I am going to cover later a little bit more is the schedule. So these are all the things that are available. I'll show you an example of the Business Partner Master Data Manager form. So this is your default here, kind of what you're going to use in the form, and how it's structured here is you can save conditions. So effectively this is a where clause. So I'm going to say all customers, but you can add your own. So I'm just going to use all. I've just prepared a shorter list of business partners, and you can write your own where clause, and this can be more complicated, have joins, et cetera, et cetera. So you can find the customers you want to edit. So if normally you work on say you have a raw master data output, raw business partner master data output, and then you put that in Excel, then you filter it, then you edit them, then you convert the file to a tab delimited, then you connect to your data transfer workbench, then you update them. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just go through, filter right in SAP. Hold on a second. Didn't put myself on again. Newbie mistake. We'll go back into it. Okay, so you'll be filtering based on what you want to see, and then you would pull a shorter list. So you've seen this where condition here. This is just regular SQL or HANA. I'm going to push find at the top, and I come up with just a generic list of 10. This could be thousands. This could be a group of them. You can select ones that you want. You can select them all, but this I have just set as a business partner property just to give a nice short list. So what can you do once you've found these records? You can edit any of these fields. So I'm going to just go through these pretty quickly. So you can change the BP type, customer group, supplier group, the currency. You can use shipping type on the general tab, territories. You could modify the payment terms, which I'll do later, payment system, the accounting tab, intrastat. You can edit the properties. You can change UDFs, and you can actually use, if some of the fields aren't displayed in these tabs, you can use the advanced tab, and it has every single field that's exposed to the DI API available for you to edit here. So that's very, very, very powerful. Special tab, delete selected business partners. That's something you can't do with the data transfer workbench. So you can actually delete, you can bulk close and do a bunch of other things with documents as well. But think if you accidentally made a bunch of business partners, or there's a bunch of business partners that have no transactions, you could go through and just strip those out programmatically. So you click delete. I'm not going to do that, but it would go through each one and it would go and delete them one at a time if it can. So in these different fields, you can also use SQL. So you could say, if there's some sort of other query that you needed to do, or something more complicated that is, one of these criteria here, you can set that through SQL. But the beautiful thing about using that through an SQL query, so you could say, you could do all sorts of calculations and make these different properties fit to whatever you need. And the beautiful thing about this is it does it properly through the DI API the exact same way that the DTW does. So you can affect system fields without having to do direct SQL updates. And if you remember, direct SQL updates are not supported by SAP. It could cause things to break. So if you do things through this method, it'll show properly in the change log. It will, make everything work correctly in terms of how SAP would work, almost exactly the same way as the data transfer workbench. So I'm going to do a very simple example here, and I'm going to go to the payment terms. And just for these, I'm going to select to do net 15. I'll do net 30, forget about it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm just going to run this and execute it. And you can see that it runs, executed successfully, and that's basically it. So it's very simple and straightforward. You can see it's quite fast. Obviously, there were only 10 records set to net 30. But this is just a very extremely simple example of what you can do. So if you isolate those customers and a user within the system, you don't want them to have access to the DTW. They don't need access to the DTW, but occasionally they need to do updates and maintenance on any one of those objects. You can easily do that within this system. The last thing I wanted to touch on today is scheduling, which really brings another level of power to this. So you can go to schedule. Within the schedule, you have a type. And so if it's one of these documents, and what's really been an interesting thing is you would potentially have outside customizations in order to maintain different parts of the sales order. So say you had a linked purchase order to a sales order and the purchase order changes, maybe the delivery date changes, you could have, you could compare those changes in the where condition. So you write your where clause here. You could say when the linked purchase order and sales order dates are not aligned, you can actually have this checking and resetting those due dates. So you can find header fields, or document due date, doc due date, and you could write an SQL query saying, pull, if there are differences, pull it from that purchase order and set it properly on the sales order. Also, then what you could do is reset a flag in here to send out an update to the customer even, and then you would have a B1UP print and delivery mass delivery that's just looking for those documents that have been flagged to update the customer. So on a schedule, you can say, you can compare two documents or compare anything. Maybe there is a business partner scenario that you want to maintain. Maybe you have business partners where I have a customer that they changed their business partner terms based on the time of the year for certain customers. So you could automate this and say, run this every couple of months. And if it's those dates, run it on the first of the month. If it is between those two dates, we'll switch them back to net 60. And then if it's the other time of the year, we'll leave them at net 30. But just with this, in maybe an hour and a little bit of testing, you can have that automated with no addition. You don't need additional code. You don't need an external process. You don't need anything. It's extremely powerful for maintaining and modifying master data. And again, let's take a look at these for business partners, for items. You could say, if an item is set to X property, you can have this run every 5 minutes and it'll go behind and fill out and fix little properties that may be missed on certain master data items or on the documents here that are exposed. So this is really nice as well to kind of maintain and make sure that even if you have validated things, maybe you have specific things with a business partner account, maybe your control account is set to USD, but then the user forgot to set the currency to USD. I mean, that's a pretty big mistake and it should be validated on the business partner. But you can do those types of things where you compare them and then this system will, you can set it up to come behind and either set a UDF or fix a system field, all properly and all supported by SAP. So that is my agenda for today. I explained what the master data manager was, how to enable it. I did a BPMD example and showed you the tabs. You can update UDFs and system fields. And then I talked a little bit about scheduling. You can use that to maintain your master data and automate processes or automate checks in the system. So that's it for me.
Well, thanks,
Right.
Mike. Does
Yeah.
anybody have any questions? No? All right. I just want to remind you all that these recordings, we record these sessions and they go to the Forgestic YouTube page. So if anybody goes into YouTube and types in forgestic.com, Montreal, we have all of the web sessions. We've got things on accounting, on year end, on inventory. We have all kinds of things. So if you need anything, just support desk or myself, Tracy at forgestic.com if you have anything specific that you need help with. So thank you very much, Mike. Have a nice weekend,
All right.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.